Good morning again, Andy Toennies. I've been a lawyer for 28 years. Go ahead and move it, Marcel. We've got offices in Belleville and St. Louis. This is my family. This is most of them. Joe, my son-in-law, is not on there. My wife, my daughter, my granddaughter, my four boys. That's about a year and a half old. Reagan's about a foot taller now. So that's what we do, everything we do for. So we need to get together. I'm going to see Evan finally. I haven't seen Evan in almost a year. I'm going to San Diego to visit him on Thursday. So he's in the Navy. The other three are in college, and Tiffany's an esthetician in St. Louis with her husband, Joe, who's in IT. Next one, please. This is a few weeks ago in Sturgis. I only put this up there because people say I have a big head, and this really puts it in perspective when you see that next to Mount Rushmore. So I had a great time riding in Sturgis. Love to ride the bike. I'd be doing it now if I wasn't spending time with all of you. So next one, please, Marcel. All right, this is me. It's actually 28 years now. Been a lawyer, tried a lot of cases in Missouri, Illinois, state and federal courts. 45 jury trials may not sound like a lot, but I've got partners who have been doing this 40 years that have tried a dozen. Nobody tries cases anymore. The reason you get good deals and good settlements for your clients is you have the threat of litigation and going to trial hanging over their head. And we have that with the resources and experience we have at Lashly and Baer. So go ahead, Marcel. All right, these are some of my settlements and trial. You can just run through those, Marcel. 16 million, 1.5 million, a lot of appellate arguments, the highest verdict in the workers' comp case in Missouri, large verdicts in Clinton County, different kinds of construction cases, represent a lot of small business owners in there. You can move it, Marcel. Oral arguments, those are some of the settlements. That just goes back to 2007. There's another couple pages before that. So do the Cardinals defense work in the city. I won every case for them, defending them, and when they get sued. So I'm proud of that. Bunch of other six-figure settlements that aren't listed on there. But go ahead, Marcel, you can keep moving. All right, I'm gonna play a game, true or false. Please pay attention and give me your answers to each question. Go ahead, Marcel. Andy does not charge a fee for consultations on injury cases like car accidents, insurance claims, or work injuries. The answer is true. Yes, I do not charge a fee. I usually don't even charge a fee for business clients. I will tell them up front if there's going to be a fee for the initial consultation. But in injury cases, any kind of insurance claim, motorcycle accident, death claim, I don't charge a fee. In fact, my fee is a percentage, and my percentage is typically much lower than most other lawyers. Some lawyers charge 40, 50%. My fee is a third. I pay for all the costs. Nothing ever comes out of your pocket. I take the risk of winning or losing the case for you. And I haven't lost many, but I've lost a few. But I take that risk on your behalf by spending the money and investing in that case. So next slide, please. True or false? Andy's grandfather on his mother's side is Red Shandings, the Cardinals Hall of Famer. Red passed away a couple of years ago. We miss him. He's a Cardinal legend. And the answer is false. Red was not my grandfather. He was my great uncle. He was my grandmother's brother. Grandma Loretta was the only daughter, and there were 7 boys. So she played right field on the family team, and the other boys all played the other positions. And Loretta was the only girl. She was tougher than everybody, by the way. She was tough as nails. So next question. Andy once turned down a $12 million injury case offer in St. Clair County, which later turned into $16 million settlement. The answer is false. I turned down 13 million, not 12 million. But I did turn down 13 million, and the next day we got 16 million for the client. That was a crazy case with a Rock of Love TV show and a client from Florida. Believe me, I had white knuckles turning down 13 million. That was not an easy thing to do, but got a great result for the client. And I'll tell you a story about that when everyone have a beer about that. Wrong answers do not count, only correct answers count. So you will get credit for correct answers. I do have 4 gift cards I'll be emailing the winners. All right, so next one. Andy has tried over 45 jury trials and hundreds of bench trials. So jury trials are all over the state, federal courts, state courts, bench trials. It's probably more than hundreds, maybe pushing 1,000. But the answer is, that is correct. In 28 years, I usually try a case a week. Most litigators, there are 2 types of lawyers, and you can add your joke to that comment wherever you want, but there are litigators and transactional lawyers. I'm a litigator, I go to court, and I'm proud to do that. Next slide. Andy spent 4 years in the seminary to become a priest. So in high school, did I spend 4 years in the seminary to be a priest? True or false? The answer is false. I spent 1 year in the seminary to be a priest, not 4 years. And thank God for Nancy Arnson. Every time I see her, she wrote me a letter saying she's going to date my best friend, Terry Sannel. And I look back at that, I think, why would Nancy write me a letter? I'm in the seminary. She's going to tell Terry, she's telling me she's going to date Terry. I need to ask her about that when I see her again. But I did leave the seminary, thank God. And I got some stories about that. I'm still in counseling over that experience, but that's another story. All right, next question is, Andy received the largest injury settlement verdict in Clinton County for a car accident case. So I call it the dead possum case. The dead possum was a client of mine who was an Air Force active duty kid, was at a clubhouse party in Clinton County. Him and his buddy were walking along the side of the road, leaving the party. And there was a dead possum on the road, really on the shoulder of the road. And that was a key element of the case because that dead possum was on the shoulder where my client was, as opposed to on the roadway where he was struck as a pedestrian, received a spiral fracture in his fibula. And we got a large verdict for him, which was later increased by the judge. We did so well. But the answer is true. That is still the largest verdict in Clinton County, which isn't saying a whole lot because Clinton County doesn't have a lot of civil cases, but still proud of that fact. Next slide. Andy once spent a day stranded in Reykjavik, Iceland, when his vehicle broke down. So, story behind that is, my law school in Ohio had an exchange program with the only law school in Iceland. So we went there. I went there with my buddy. Spent 2 weeks in Iceland. Met the president of the country, Supreme Court Chief Justice. Met a lot of great people. Still stay in touch with a lot of people there. We're leaving this little place with this frozen waterfall and where the original Magna Carta was drafted. We had 2 vans, and the answer is yes, our van broke down on the side. We slid off the ice into a tree, the only tree for miles. And we all had been, we had made chili for the Icelanders the night before. So all of us had to go to the bathroom, but we had nowhere to go. That's another story as well. But that was not a pretty sight. But we spent all day on the side of the road outside of Reykjavik until the truck could get there and pick us back. Excuse me. Next slide. I think you know the answer to this. I already alluded to this earlier. Andy received the largest verdict in Missouri for a workers' compensation case. This was the largest verdict at the time. The answer is true. And it's been now capped. This was a great client I had. She was a nurse at a home for kids. She had a 4-level back fusion, and they really weren't treating her well. She ended up adopting a bunch of kids on her own who had a lot of special needs. She was a fantastic lady. I got a great verdict for her, and now she's back to work and very happy about that. All right, in high school, my senior year, my basketball team was undefeated until the state playoffs. When we lost to a team with basketball Hall of Famer Jerry Sloan. So Brian Sloan is Jerry Sloan's son. He played for McLeansboro. The answer is true. It's the only game we lost, the last game of the year in the state semifinals. Brian Sloan is now an orthopedic surgeon in Indiana. I took his deposition a couple years ago, and I was not nice to him at all in the deposition. I was not happy with that loss. But we did not win the state championship that year at Mater Dei. So I'm trying to turn my phone off here because I'm out of time. But move on, Marcel, will you please? All right. I represent business owners in all types of legal matters, including contracts, collection, general business advice, and litigation. I do a lot of work for small business owners. I'm able to represent those folks with relatively reasonable fees because I also have some larger clients like Comcast where my rate's a lot higher. So I can really adjust my fees and be flexible with some of the small business owners, the mom and pops that just had general questions, have me on retainer and all those kind of things. So the answer is true. And I do that. I love helping people in their small businesses and being an advisor to them. Next slide, please. All right, so this is another website that I have in addition to the Lashly Baer website. There's the LashlyInjuryLawyer.com website, which is just for my injury work, which I welcome any of you to get on and take a look at. It goes into detail about what I do for my clients who are injured in work comp, insurance claims, car accidents, falls, product liability claims, motorcycle accidents, all those types of claims. that's been my sweet spot for 28 years in practicing law. That's really what I've done from the very beginning and enjoy doing that in Illinois and Missouri. Move on, please. All right, any questions, comments, anyone? Yes, Mark.
Andy, I wanted to just give you props. You got a perfect demeanor, not only for our chapter, but also as a lawyer. A lot of lawyers certainly get plenty of flack, but what you do for us, as well as your clients, and a balance of being approachable, knowledgeable, respectable, honest, is very admirable in a lawyer.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.